I'm in the bed and I'm going to tell you this new story. Now, there's two stories I never told you. One was about Ant find the Banshee comb. That's not a scary one though.
It is.
Should I tell it?
No, tell it tomorrow in the morning or after school.
Okay, when it's bright. Okay, I'll tell you about the story about... I'm going to tell you a story about... don't be at the phone now, mate. I'm going to tell you a story about the snail that could speak Irish.
What?
Many of our little old insects that we have here in Ireland can talk Irish. And
But they can talk.
yeah, they can talk, but loads of them still can talk Irish, because when the English came over, the one thing that they didn't actually manage to kind of control or had an effect on were little small insects. Now a lot of the birds can talk English and Irish, but a lot of the snails and the beetles and the earwigs, they all talk Irish still in insect languages. So a lot of people would call an earwig galliog, or they'd call a beetle a kirog, they'd call a shield bug, as the Americans call them, they'd call them a shit puka. That's what Granny called them, a shit puka.
A shit?
A shit puka, yeah, because they give off a smell.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's a shit puka, yeah. And
poo.
and a little, what do you call it? A snail would be a shelly puka, or shelly pookie.
Shelly poo.
Shelly pookie, right? No, from a ghost, right?
Oh,
so
puka.
Yeah,
ghost.
pukas, yeah. So what the old jelly pookie would do, right, is if you would go down and you'd see a snail on the ground in the shell, and you pick him up and you put him on the palm of your hand, and he's inside in the shell now at this stage. And if you say this, shelly pookie, show me your horns. Shelly pookie, show me your horns. Shelly pookie, show me your horns. Some of the English speaking snails, when they hear that, they'll put their head out. On the third time you said it, they'll put their head out with their little horns sticking up. But some of the Irish speaking snails, when you go, they're bilingual. Shelly pookie, Harris jock the horns. Shelly pookie, Harris jock the horns. Shelly pookie, Harris jock the horns. And the little snail put out his head. And I'd always say to the snails, not the Irish speaking one, to say, do you quit? And he'd always say back to me, do you smother it? And I'd say, Kun's the tatu. Oh, go ma, he'd say, oh, go ma. August 2, freshen. Oh, Pusheen Bán, I'd say.
Do you ask him what age he is sometimes?
I'd say, Kane age 2, a Shelly Pookie. And the Shelly Pookie would go, if he was 7, he'd go, oh, shock, blian dig dish. Or if he was 5, he'd go, oh, quick, blian dig dish.
I'd say it'd be like 25.
Yeah, he said 25 or 30. And sometimes the old snail would be talking real good Irish and I wouldn't be able to understand him. And I'd go, slow down there, lad. I said, I can't understand you. I said, I don't have great Irish. And he'd go, and he'd pull his head back in and he wouldn't talk to him anymore. That'd be called a snail gaelgore.
He'll be cruel. A cruel snail.
He wouldn't try to help you at all. And sometimes snails...
Maybe that might be a king.
The king? Yeah. And you know what snails are lovely for doing? You ever hear them on a May morning?
What?
Singing in Irish. You hear them out singing in the long grass and the woodjewey grass. And they'll be out singing Chano songs. And
would there be such thing as French snails?
Yeah, the French snails would talk French. And the Breton snails would talk Breton.
What's Breton like? Do you talk like Spanish or something kind of?
No, it'd be more like Welsh. It'd be all like that.
Kind of like a different accent than us, definitely.
Yeah, they're
kind of like Irish, but like different.
Yeah, some words would be similar, like the word for colours like green and gloss and carrig for rock is the same. some of the things are the same, but a lot of them are very different.
And what's house in Irish?
Choch, or tea,
Chuck,
tea, and in Breton it's tea as well.
yeah. So.
And so in Welsh it's tea, so there's similarities with houses as well. We'd have a lot of place names in Ireland with Tinnaburna or tea something. Well, they'd also have tea cozy and tea curling and tea different, all different places called tea.
Mm-hmm.
But the snails anyway. But the snails, anytime now, you need to get the snails. The snails singing in Irish is definitely the best. On a May morning, you'd see him out. Well,
have one, a king.
If it's
What?
Halloween,
Is I have a king or queen?
The snails?
yeah, they could sing. If it was Halloween, they would sing like the Iha Hauna, Iha Hauna. And if it was Christmas, they would sing Iha No. Like I don't know a song about Christmas, but Jingle Bells. But I don't know that in Irish. They could sing an Irish song in Christmas, or if it was Easter, they could sing an Easter song.
Yeah, it ought to be good now. But anyway, next time you see a snail, go down and say hello to him and talk Irish to him. There was a fella I was in school with, and what he did was, for his oral exams and his history for his Irish, he took the snail in with him, right? And he became friends, and he put the snail up on his shoulder. And he just... oh no, he didn't. He had a little compass box. You know the compass boxes?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a snail in that. And just give the snail a few old crumbs. The old snail was his best friend. And your man would go into the exam anyway. And he wouldn't have a fucking clue what Irish, right? And he'd say, Faker and Kesh never heard a hen. Snail looked down and put it. Oh, clear, give him the answer like that. Or the Maastricht Treaty. And just the snail was brilliant. Yeah, man, he got the honours Irish, and he got a job as a civil servant. He works for the Dáil now somewhere, but he still can't speak a word of Irish. I think the snail died. Someone said he moved to Dublin and got married, and the snail died, or his wife made him give away the snail. And but if you can find the snail that's outside, right, bring him in with you and get him to talk to him, and he talk Irish back to you, and it'd be quite handy in the classroom.
Are you just lying like the thing on Facebook about the peacock going up, being like a scarecrow or a bird flapping your wings, closing your eyes, putting out your tongue?
Would I lie to you, Nellie?
Normally.
Yeah. Right now, lads.
Goodbye.